The innovation cycle from founder to CEO. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm the director of marketing at IdeaPros, and I have Ira Hayes, and he is our VP of strategic development. We are talking about the innovation cycle. So thank you so much, Ira, for being here.
Absolutely, Tessa. It's always a pleasure.
And we, as you guys are popping in, don't forget to hashtag live if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, and we keep an eye on those things to see if the time of day is working for our shows. So, hey, Sean, good to have you here. And we are literally going through the whole innovation cycle, that process. And Ira's going to dive a little bit. It's a high level review. Obviously, we're not going to go into extreme depth on these, but there is a process. There's about 5 steps, right, Ira? We have 5 steps that we go through in the innovation cycle.
Absolutely. Innovation, iteration. And then there's also some tools that I hope we can talk about that are free, not free, but that everyone can use. You can find them and then we can go through that. So it's inventing, and this piece of it is the most fun, and to try to create something and then bring it to the world. And that's the cycle side of it. So it's really a big part of what we all want to do as innovators to entrepreneurs. And I think it creates so much good. And so you have to apply a little bit of process to it. If not, it just becomes a little chaotic. So
it is, and it's a lot. So if you break it in, it is. And we break it down. If the first step, obviously, in innovation is to invent.
Absolutely. And I know most people I talk to have an idea, and that's why we've achieved so much and so much good in this world, and healthier, happier a lot of times is through this constant improvement of invention and innovation. And so it doesn't always have to be this ginormous thing, and it sometimes it can be very simple, but it can really make a dent in the world. And so I applaud, and we all do on our side, that invention. The inventor it's such an emotional word. And I think that we really get attached to that. How do I improve my quality of life, someone else's quality of life, like the world in general? And so that's what I really focus on, these positive innovations, and like the people that surround themselves with that thought process of how do I create something that improves the overall. So
absolutely. Well, and even if we're talking about products or apps or even services, absolutely. If we're talking about any of these, you're innovating, you're inventing a new way to do something or solve a new problem. So it doesn't just apply to the products or apps. It also applies to, any industry. But in this case, we're talking specifically about more of what IdeaPros in general does, which is helping people come up with those products and apps. So invent is number 1. And that's the fun part. Like you said, that's where the exciting, the excitement happens. And you're there. It's almost like a high that you get when you're coming up with these ideas and you find a solution.
Absolutely. And so that's what it's creating a better way through the system, normally through something. It's breaking the status quo. So there's a lot of things that on the invention, innovation side that fall into the artistic and the how do I solve a problem better, or how do I make something more efficient? And it absolutely applies to software, product, as well as services, any way you're trying to change that status quo.
Exactly. A lot of people are actually solving their own problem first. More, I would say most inventions come from you having a problem and thinking, gosh, that really has to be a better way. But you are always keeping in mind that target audience that's actually, it's not just you that you're solving this for, but is there a bigger need? So we go into number 2, which is to research and find out if you are the only one who needs that solution or not, right? And there's a lot you can do for free, like you said, tools that we can jump into from a research standpoint.
Absolutely, as well. And even if you're solving it just for yourself, I still think that's great. But if you're trying to go on this journey from founder or inventor to CEO, where you're trying to monetize it, you really have to then start to take what you're doing and apply some research methodology to it. And that can be as simple as starting with a Google search. And I know This one I found very psychologically interesting because I was doing my PhD on something I invented, and that's really what got me into the product development invention thing. Google things. Don't be afraid to go see what's out there. And
Right.
so Google is number one. Google owns 99% of the search. Almost everything's on there. And it's great when you find other people trying to solve the same problems that you are.
Exactly. And actually, I'm going to show you guys, when we say Google, there's a couple things, and I'm just going to briefly go into this. But if we're trying to solve a problem, we're going to type something in here. We're going to get all the suggestions that Google is making a recommendation of. So Ira, give me one. I'm just going to throw one in here. Any idea?
Dog collars.
Dog collars.
The dogs are running around over here.
I hear them.
Yeah. Sorry about they're having too much fun.
That's okay. They can be fun. But this is looking up like dog collars, the actual like name tag, but you can see what people are searching for. I am in one that also has keywords everywhere attached to it. So I can actually see dog collars, and then it goes in and finds additional information like how many people are searching for dog collars. 301,000 a month are looking for dog collars right now. So, and they're paying about $1.12. So you can see just really quickly trends. You can tell what kind of words, what products are coming up in the top of those search engines. So that's when we say Google, you can use that free one, or you can use Keywords Everywhere, which is a tool that I use a lot here. Just had to show that because that's my nerdy one for the day there. But you're also doing a little bit deeper research. In addition, you're looking at the macro report. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and how we use that information that's out there?
Yeah, so that's what we do at IdeaPros as well, is we look at the macro environment and the trends that are going along with it. And so macro being the pet industry, if we were looking at dog collars, say you want to create a smart dog, but we're looking at the trends in the pet industry. And you'll oftentimes, and this isn't something to scare people, but you'll oftentimes hear the word like kegger, and people throw out these things, but kegger just means year over year growth. So you're a lot of times looking for the year over year growth of an industry. And then what it's also going to suggest is who are the biggest players in that industry? Who else is there on the macro level? Who would be good strategic people to go with? What am I going to align myself with? And so on the macro environment, it's very broad how we see this. Is this a trending industry, or is this something that we're going to have to work a little harder? Because like Tessa said, people aren't looking for it. I'm too innovative. I'm Tesla now, and I'm talking about AC power and the early turn of the century kind of deal.
Or concepts that are too old too. It'd be like cart and horse as opposed to the car. I mean, are you actually trying to, come up with a new version that's really not, it's obsolete already?
And so that's kind of where we start at that baseline to go from macro to micro, which is more subjective research about what I'm trying to do. And so there are tools out there like Gartner and big research engines, IBIS World, that provide, and we work with these systems, provide macro level reports by industry leaders and people that their sole profession is to create, generate, write very, very statistically valid reports for this. So you can actually, it's one of those things, it's validated. There's a scientific process that goes into it. So there are those, because a lot of times you'll see things that might not necessarily be backed by science. So if you were writing a paper on it, you would probably get yelled at for
right. You're not having a data source that's reliable.
Like back when they used to say you can't source Wikipedia, but now of course you can, because it employs more people. So that's a big part of this research, is to go and validate, to kind of understand the industry, and tools are so valuable for the product world. There's things like Jungle Scout and other things that will tell you how things are selling on Amazon, basically. And so what it does is it searches, because Amazon's it's the juggernaut of online sales. Mm-hmm. And so if you can see the trends of what's happening and how many competitors there are and how much they're paying by looking into the backside of Amazon on what's actually going on, that's hugely valuable, because then you can start to discern price points. And then on the software sides of it, it's there are other services, but it's kind of looking the downloads and then some of the other things like that. And another one I think is really important as you're trying to turn your invention into a business is understanding what other businesses did to become successful. And so that's a lot of time based on funding, on how did they get funding, who did they fund with. And so how you get funding is how you really propel your idea into, it's the fuel. And so there's things like Crunchbase that'll show the funding rounds, and it'll go from the idea to, they got through the idea stage, but now they're in the launch stage or right after launch, and they're getting like additional seed funding or capital. And so back to the dog collar one, there's some great dog collar companies. Like, if anyone's heard of Whistle, they pretty much were the first ones to make smart dog collars, and they sold for a lot because they did their research and they ended up becoming acquired. So that baseline, that big level, like the big macro environment research is important to get the foundational pieces. And then you're going to build your structure. You're going to build your house on top of that. And that's more of the micro side of it. What kind of house am I going to build? Am I going to build a 3-story house? Am I going to build a 2-story house? What is my price points going to be? How am I competitive? And how am I going to collect this and use this information to explain to someone else? How am I going to get my thoughts in order? And so that becomes this research is an ongoing, never-ending piece of this as well. So just like innovation is. And so the invent should always be going, and then you're going to research, and then you're going to continue to research, and then you're going to move on through this. And again, continue to model and tweak. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Like Tessa alluded to, just on Google alone, if you ever want to see and you're doing something strange, just put quotations around the word you're looking for, and it'll search exactly that. And so there's a lot of information to be found. And then Google also has almost all the patents loaded into it right now, if you're looking into it. So Google patent search, it's another sub tab of Google. So if you type in something you're thinking about and then basically go into patents, it'll pull up a whole indexing of patents, because basically Google wants to have control of all of it.
All searches. Yeah. They want the most relevant information. But if you are doing any of those searches, obviously you want to have, Fred will always say, it's like having an X-ray and then trying to read it yourself. So a lot of what we do at IdeaPros is we're giving this research, but then we're also telling you what that means. So it's a little bit of the, what we bring to the table, and we don't usually talk about that, but I had to say it because if you try to do this on your own, you're going to look at all these stats, and then you might be leaning towards one way because of how you searched for something. So you're not searching, or maybe you don't know the competitors in the industry. That's a big one that's also in the research category, is knowing your competitors and your SWOT, or how you stand out, or your benefits against those competition innovations that they have out there. So the research one is a big chunk of what we do. And a lot of partners ask us, I'm still in research. Why is this taking this long? Well, it's because you have to do it right.
Because it never ends.
It's always there.
It never ends. And another great one for trademarks and naming is uspto.gov.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
So
yes.
It's a lot less easy than Google. So we go through that. We were actually just giving a speech on how to properly do some of this stuff in advance to even going through the process. So not even a full research, but anyone listening can utilize these. Those are 2 absolutely free resources that help build your knowledge base, build your research, so that then you can move into the next phases of these things.
Exactly. And Leticia, if I know you're watching in the chat, if you can pop in that USPTO, right? .gov.
It's a .gov, so always make sure you use the ones that are .gov, so it's not a paid service. A lot of times, like the ads, so ads, you don't need ads for .gov stuff. And so, and it's basically, if you type in trademark search or patent search, it'll be the one that ends .gov. It's USPTO. And so the trademark one's called the Tease platform.
Perfect. Awesome. So then we're going to go, because I know we only have a little while with you guys. So we're going to go on. We have 3. So there's 5 total in this process, in the innovation cycle. We're on number 3, and now we're on the plan part. And this is, I think, one of Ira's favorite, because you are all about planning.
Well, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And Absolutely. So again,
I should have put that on my board.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And granted, plans go out of the window real quick. It's kind of like have plan A, know it's probably going to fail, plan B too, but plan C is going to come into. But it's that planning and continuing to plan. Again, the planning is a evergreen part of all of this stuff. You want to continue to plan, but you want to build that strategic roadmap, that strategic piece of it that you're going to try to go down and then pivot when necessary. Yes. And the one thing about a plan, and this is the one that's really hard, the hardest one I've ever found. If I know my plan, that's great. But if I can't tell someone else about it or have them understand my plan and get them on the same page as my plan, it doesn't do as much good, because I'm now operating in a vacuum. So the real part of planning, and I spent quite a bit of time in the planning phases in my life of project management, and I went to grad school for it and stuff. And it's how do you start a project, and how do you open a project, and how do you close a project? And it's because you follow a plan. And so, and it's really that communication of the plan. And that's where a lot of times you're like, I got it all in my head. It's all good right here. And it's really hard for someone else to follow what's in your head. You're like,
what would a plan look like? Is that the business plan? Is that what would you recommend?
So, yeah, on the planning side of it, we actually got a affiliate, a
partnership
arrangement. I'm trying to make sure I use that. Yeah, an agreement with a company called Live Plan. And so anyone looking into it, business plans are some of the most daunting things to ever write. If you sit down with a Word document and you see what a business plan looks like here and where you start from, it's miserable. You're going to go clean your house or do anything you can not to have to do that. Right. So I'm going to do anything else. And except for sit there and type till I get to 30 pages plus financial forecasting model. So there's a tool, it's a software as a service company called Live Plan that spent about 30 years trying to figure out how to help people write business plans. And it's chunked into small amounts of information that you can work on anytime you want, at a sentence at a time, and it'll ask you questions. It'll give you what they suggest in there. And
video help docs too. I mean, they have video.
Yeah. They give you a book if you want to read it. It's like 258 pages or something like that, written by a guy who didn't like business plans, because again, you'll hear these things that your business plan's not important, but it really is. So it solidifies that in the founder, the ideation person's head, so that they can explain it to someone else. When someone else writes your business plan and does that for you, you never have that same amount of ownership of it.
And I think what comes out of Live Plan is a 1-page version. It's the abbreviated version plus a pitch deck. And that's really what the banks want. I know I used Live Plan way before I even worked with IdeaPros, and that's exactly what we did. We came up with a whole business plan, brought in the small version and the big version. They didn't need the big one. They just needed that one summary sheet and a good explanation of what that we've done our research. But it's so helpful to have that information in your head, even if it's just because someone's asking you a question. You've had to go through and answer that for yourself. Even if they don't have the 50-page business plan anymore, because that is obsolete.
Only obsolete until you try to get an SBA loan.
True.
And so it's not even that it's obsolete. It's that no one uses them as their first piece as much anymore. It's not as common. So now it's pitch, which Live Plan helps you with the pitch questions. It formats it very nicely. And then the plan is basically, you'll hear due diligence a lot. It's the due diligence of your pitch. How did I come up with these things here? And then the one that I think is most impressive about it, though, it makes post-launch or during running financials really easy. Because the other thing, the forecasting, and so people will hear like pro forma. You might hear that sometimes. It's usually like a giant Excel sheet. Again, you're like, I don't want to do this. I don't know anything about it. But the live plan software made it into a wizard, basically. So you can just start with what you know or what you think and drag and drop, and it'll actually build your P&L statement, profit and loss statements. It builds your cash flow analysis, and it does it automatically. So I think that one, and it allows you to modify at any time. So I think that's a great tool for planning, as far as like, how do I get what I'm doing, and how do I take this research and apply it to a plan so I can go through this, and then other people can understand what I'm doing. And we could go on and on about
I know, and we only have a couple minutes. So
Microsoft project for like all and so what are these?
Well, and this, the innovation cycle, like we said, we're going through 1, 2. So 1, invent. 2 is research. 3 is plan. Again, all of these you're kind of always doing. Number 4 is development of the actual item. So app, product. And that is its whole own topic. So we probably are going to skim pretty quick on that.
Yeah. Development's fun, long, the valley of death sometimes, because it's crazy. Like it's very, very crazy on the development cycle, because when you're developing, things always take longer than expected normally. Sometimes you'll be able to, what we call crash projects. So there's an iron triangle of project management, which is basically time, quality, and money. So it fits like this. So as you move one of those legs, something else moves. So if you want high quality and you only have a certain amount of money, it takes more time. And that's kind of, it's referred to as the iron triangle, because it can't be broken. And so it's, yeah. So that's part of this development. Software and product development, it's still a development life cycle. It starts with an initiation and it'll end with finally a closing, but all the work in the middle is your development life cycle, your critical path. What do I need to focus on right now? One of the biggest things that we're facing is logistics on things. The shipping fees from overseas and everything, and shipping times have went up 7x to 10x. And so it's things that's probably not part of most people's plan either. That's one of those outliers. So you're like, did not plan for that, but I make concessions so you can still do it. So the development life cycle, like you said, is it's a topic. It's 10 days, 20 days.
We have a lot of shows about that, different shows that we've had on Facebook. So we actually are creating a resource center from all of our shows that will have them broken up by topic. So stay tuned for that. I'll talk more after we get through number 5, which is a launch. And then I'm going to let Ira go and hang out with our team over there at IdeaPros.
Yeah, we're actually having we're moving offices, and we're having a pool taco party, and so I got moved out of the pool and taco party talk on.
Thankfully, he's so committed to our Facebook audience, and I see you guys over there. Don't worry, I'm going to come chat with you, and we are going to look if there are questions over there. We'll briefly look and see if we can squeeze in one. So let us know if you have any questions. But number 5, obviously launching. There's a lot that goes in that. That's actually physically having your product or app ready for people to consume, but it's also the marketing and a lot of the piece of how are you going to tell people about it?
Launch parties.
Launch parties.
Everyone have a launch party when you get ready to it. Because
oh my gosh, I can't wait until we can do those again, because it makes it different. Online is definitely not the same experience for sure. But you can still create a launch sequence and have all of the communications, build up your target audience way early. So a lot more goes into every one of these steps. But that's the innovation cycle from start to finish. Again, invent, research, plan, develop, and then launch. So thank you so much, Ira, for being here to help us through this innovation cycle. And we'll have you on again. Ira's an expert in so many different areas, as you guys can tell. Plus, he's invented himself. He's an inventor, and he's very successful at what he does. So we like to pick his brain as much as we can. Right now, I don't see any big questions over in the chat, but I do want to say that we had somebody who had mentioned they were using LivePlan, which is great. And I just thought maybe it was someone you had been working with recently, Ira. So I am going to see who it was. Oh yeah, Barry Clark. So he's creating his LivePlan right now, and it helps you think of the project differently. It's an experience on its own. Very cool. So I think I can let you go if you want. I don't see any questions in here, and I'll say hi to everyone for you.
Everyone's more than welcome to reach out to me anytime they need to, and I can try to answer what I can. And so, and this is fun. Don't forget that this is supposed to be fun. Like, do serious things, but don't take yourself too seriously, because it's supposed to be fun. This is what we need. We need more inventors in the world and more people solving problems. And Absolutely. So I love this stuff. And thank you very much for your time and your personality and everything, Tessa. And
absolutely.
Always here for all, to support all of us. So
I love it. I love this. I love our entrepreneurial audience. They're the ones who deserve the hand. I know you guys are doing all of this work, literally working your butts off out there to make your dreams come true. Also get your inventions out there, help more people. So you guys, we are here because of you. All our entrepreneurs, all our partners, all the people who have that vision of being the next, Tessa, or, inventing great things. So thank you, Ira. We'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Ciao.
All right, guys. So I'm going to go head over to the chat and see if we have some exciting comments over here. So Sean, I saw you this time very first, right off the bat. Nice to have you here. Thank you. Abel, Leticia, Yadira, Michael, Stephanie. Oh, great to see you, Stephanie. And Michael P. Ryan over there at Recite. And again, speaking of, we forgot to do it. We have house mugs. And I forgot to, I'm going to see if I can bring Ira on again so you can explain this, because it's so good. Tell us about house mugs, because I know they're one of the most recently launched ones.
Absolutely. And we actually have the web developer, the creative designer. Y'all want to come get in here.
Oh my gosh, they're there.
And so house mugs.
I'm going to make you guys big on the screen here for a second.
Yeah, this is the live.
Oh boy.
Well, hold on. We're going to make you big. Okay. Oh my gosh. Good to see you.
Curtis on the back end and D-Tunes on the lead guitar.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
If you get a chance, check out House Mugs. This was a very interesting project for us. It came as an idea and ended up partnering with about a $2.5 billion a year company. They're one of the largest print and database companies in the country. And these guys did an amazing job to get through this. And basically
those are dogs, guys. They're not screaming people. Don't worry.
It's what it is. It's kind of like fat heads for your house. And so these are made on demand. And so we're really trying to launch for the 4th of July and then move into Halloween for this one. You can buy these now. And it is insane on what it does to people's neighborhood. The guy that came to us with this as an idea, he owns a print company as well. And so he's been using these to excite his neighborhood, make his kids happy and draw a lot of attention. And then he didn't really know how to apply. He had the innovation. He didn't necessarily have the plan and the team to support him. Yeah. So that's what everyone did. Came came through, and D-Tunes did the
I
animation.
know, these ones, I have to say, this is so cool.
Curtis made sure the website worked.
Yeah.
Made sure the animations could be seen. And that's kind of what it is and what it takes. And so it's launching for the 4th of July. And then we had a quick launch, so it was a little pushed forward. And then for Halloween coming second. And so it's exciting. And so I don't know, we couldn't be more thrilled to work with a 12,000 person company and watch these two hit it out of the park with them.
Yeah, Curtis, squeeze in for just 1 second. I just want to make sure they can see you. There we go. That's our awesome team. Thank you guys so much. This the House Mugs website is amazing. Like you said, we're doing a test run because there's a lot of logistics behind that to be able to make sure everything runs smoothly. So excellent. I'm going to put the link in the chat so you guys can go check it out. And then definitely show some support and the social channels. Make sure that you follow House Mugs. There's more to come. And I am one of the people who will have one house mug for Halloween for sure. So,
if you're an IdeaPros person, send Tessa or myself an email if you want one. We can get you a discount code.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Naira. Now I really will let you go.
Okay, well, it's a pleasure, Tessa. Thanks, and thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Good job, D-Tunes and Curtis.
Sure.
All right. Well, that's so fun. I love being able to see from start to finish. So we were able to see how that progressed. They went through that innovation cycle that we just went over, and big things. And there's so many more partners. I know we have Recite on here. We have Sean Reed with Sage Scheduler. Sage, Sean, if you want to put your link in, please do. But as these things are coming out and launching, we will keep you guys posted so you can see what that's like. We have a lot of people that are brand new on today's show, or I haven't seen in a long time. So great to have you, Vanessa. Shelly, hey, Shelly has Playoff Sports Wall is coming. It's in crowdfunding. And Barry Clark, of course, we showed one of your comments about Live Plan. We have Michael Wolf. So many people. And Kelly Reed, good to see you, honey. And Steve Brown, which is Eclipse. Love the product over there. And oh my goodness, there's so many people today. So if you guys have any questions from today's show, make sure you put it in the chat. But there's also a link in the post for today that has question and answers. And it's a form that you fill out and submit your question. If you don't want to do a question publicly, please feel free to use that so that we can, I see, Steve, are you a sports guy? So there we go. Now that makes sense to me. I was trying to figure out what that said. So if you have any questions, so submit it. We're going to be doing another Ask Fred or Ask It just in general, because we have so many specialists. I don't know if you guys have seen, but we had Wes, who designed the Batmobile. We have Rusty, who's designing these, creating and innovating. We have Ira that you guys have met. We have Ty, who's been, case by case. I mean, so many successful, amazing resources at your fingertips. So ask the questions, do it in the chat here with us, or ask on that form so that we can get answers for you. And we'll be back next Friday, noon Pacific time. Make sure you hit the bell to get a reminder when we go live. And also in the post description, you can get notifications by text. Way easier. Sorry, I didn't get them out today. So a lot of you are maybe catching this replay wondering where your notification was. It was a little bit chaotic, so I didn't get it out to everyone. But normally we send that about 30 minutes before, so you can just pop on with your phone or on the computer. So we'll see you guys all next week. Have a blessed week. Bye.